I'm your MC today. My name is Mark Minnow, and this is my sister-in-law. I'm fortunate to have Rhonda Warren help me out today. And everybody appreciates the applause, and that's free, so you could give that up as much as you want today. I'd like to kindly ask everybody to stand up and remove cover as we're going to have our national anthem, American flag, carried by Mindy Soto. If you please remain standing, remove cover again, please, as we're listening to the British national anthem, as they are our strongest allies in the war with Iraq, flag carried by Tammy Van Etten. Thank you very much. Tonight we're going back to the Old West with a little history. First off, it's Pony Express. Although it didn't last too long, it has an interesting history. It started April 3rd, 1860, and ran through late October 1861. The purpose was to provide the fastest mail delivery between St. Joseph's, Missouri and Sacramento, California, and to gain $1 million contract for the Central Overland California and Pike Peace Express Company. The Pony Express ran day and night. Summer and winter, 183 men are known to have ridden the Pony Express. During its operation, just over 18 months, an ad in the California paper read, "Wanted, young skinny wiry fellows," that leaves myself out, "not over 18, must be expert riders, willing to risk death daily, orphans preferred." Most riders were around 20. Youngest was 11, oldest was mid-40s. Not many were orphans, usually weighed about 120 pounds and were paid $100 per month. They switched riders every 75 to 100 miles. They changed to fresh horses every 10 to 15 miles. They traveled at the rate of 10 miles per hour. 400 horses were purchased with 165 stations. It was a span of 2,000 miles. The fastest trip was 7 days, 17 hours with Lincoln's inaugural address. At the beginning, it cost $5 per half ounce. Sounds like our gas prices today. By the end, it dropped price to $1 per half ounce. The Pony Express succeeded to provide the fastest communications between East and the West until the telegraph that it captured in immigration and the people all over the world. It was said that only lost one rider and another one was killed. This afternoon we have Joe Taccone reenacting the ability of the riders of the Pony Express. Okay, thanks, Joe. He likes to hear that. In the legendary period of American history known as the Old West, the law of the whole nation yet had to be tamed that the frontier was spottily settled. This resulted in lawlessness seen as a personage of those as outlaws, lawbreakers, whose notorious reputations exceeded their very personal and methodic proportions. Belle Starr, Jesse and Frank James were such outlaws. Mrs. Starr was the bandit queen of the Old West, but just an educated little Maribel Shirley on a farm in Texas before Cole Younger and James brothers happened to be on their way to Missouri. Mara, 18, was submitted by old Cole, and the relationship led to a right life of crime. In 1880, she married a Cherokee Indian named Sam Starr and took her name Belle Starr. She helped rob trains in Texas and California. She led a band of cattle and horse thieves. She was convicted and once spent 9 months in prison. Belle Starr life came to a violent end 2 days short of her 44th birthday. While riding from the general store near her ranch in Eufaula, Oklahoma, Belle was killed by a shotgun blast to the back. The identity of the murderer of Belle Starr was never identified. Belle had a daughter, Pearl, thought to be Cole Younger's. Pearl made Belle a grandmother 2 years before her death. Christine Soto is riding side saddle as the notorious Belle Starr. Thank you. Frank and Jesse James were two of the most famous outlaws known in the American West. They hailed from Missouri. They had long careers as robbers and murderers. They traveled throughout Missouri and went from Iowa to Alabama and Texas robbing banks. In 1873, they added train robberies, as they already been robbing stagecoaches, stores, and even individuals. In Minnesota, September of 1876, provided a disaster as Cole and Jim and Bob Younger were all captured and given life sentences. The boys escaped. In 1879, the brothers had a $5,000 bounty for their capture or conviction. Gang member Robert Ford turned on Jesse and shot him in the head April 3rd, 1882, while Jesse stood on a chair straightening a picture on the wall at his home. Months later, Frank surrendered to authorities, but in 3 separate trials for robbery and murder, they could not get a conviction, so Frank went free. He lived on the family farm until 1915 and died in the same room in which he was born. Come and riding the outlaws of the East. We have a lawman who bettered than Wyatt Earp. Wyatt was born in Illinois in 1848 and only spent 6 of his 80 years serving as a lawman. He traveled to Kansas, Texas, and New Mexico, earning a living as a gambler, teamster, buffalo hunter, a section hand on the Union Pacific Railroad, and a lawman. A shootout at the OK Corral in Tombstone occurred on October 26, 1881, between the Earps, Clantons, and the McCleary brothers, who were known as cattle rustlers. It resulted in the death of McCleary and Bill Clanton. Also wounded Virgil and Morgan Epps. Doc Holliday and Bat Masterson worked with Wyatt. This is what Bat Masterson said about the great Wyatt Earp. One of the very few men I personally knew in the West in the early days whom I regarded as absolute, destitute of physical fear, and quite an assuming man. Not given to brag or bluster, but under all circumstances, a loyal friend, equally dangerous enemy. Wyatt died on January 13th, 1929. We have Jim Bush and R.T. Only on the only appointed deputies. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd all face the flag, remove cover for our Pledge of Allegiance. We also have a pretty song by Patsy Cline.
Big happy life with a bluebird in every tree. I could see right and wrong, I could see good, no bad, I could see all the good things in life I've never had. If I could see the world through the eyes of a child.
Big round of applause for the children doing that, huh? Thank you very much. One of the great entertainers, which was almost impossible during this era, was Annie Oakley. Annie grew up a poor girl in 1860 in Ohio. At the age of 15, she paid off her mother's mortgage with the money she made from selling wild game that she had shot. She was invited to a shooting contest against sharpshooter Frank Butler. She and her brother put up a $50 entry fee and won the match with 25 attempts. Mr. Butler missed one out of 25. She and Frank were married in 1875, and she was on her way to fame. A 5-foot girl, and was befriended by Indian Chief Sitting Bull, who gave her name Little Sure Shot. Annie Frank worked hard for the Cell Brothers Circus, Buffalo Bill's Wild West show. They toured Europe, and Annie was invited to many social events. Being a woman with such skills earned her not only money but fame. During World War II, Annie offered to raise regiment of women volunteers to fight in the war. She also made an offer during the Spanish-American War and was turned down each time. Annie and Frank were in an auto accident in 1922. It took her a year and a half to recover, but in 1924 she was setting new shooting records. In 1926, Annie and her husband died of natural causes. Come riding our little sure shot, Lindsay Leisingring, accompanied by her father, Rick.
There's no business like show business like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing, everything that traffic will allow. Nowhere could you get that happy feeling when you are stealing that extra bow. There's no people like show people, they smile when they are low. Yesterday they told you you would not go far. That night you open and there you are. Next day on your dressing room they've hung the star. Let's go on with the show. The cowboys, the wrestlers, the tumblers, the clowns.
All right. Rick, you're moving pretty good. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a special treat tonight. Meet Sandra Law and her 5-year-old Spanish Andalusian stallion, Tesoro. Tesoro has been under a saddle for only 1 year. It takes 8 to 10 years to fully train a high-schooled horse. Tesoro and Sandra will show you the beginning of his training. The Andalusian horse is one of the ancient breeds of the world, dating back for more than 20,000 years. Conquistadors turned their Spanish-bred horses loose in Mexico rather than taking them aboard ships. Those horses migrated up through the southwestern area of America and were used by Native American Indians for war and hunting. As Spain settled in the southwest, more pure Spanish blood horses were brought here. It is believed that the American quarter horse got its cow sense from the Andalusian horse and has been used in ranches and bullfights for hundreds of years. The Andalusian horse was universally admired and valued as a war horse. He is courageous, swift, and agile. His conformation is well suited for flexibility and collection demanded of him to perform maneuvers for mounted warfare. Over the centuries, the breed became more rare and cross for breeding and famine contributed to the drain number of purebred horses from Spain and Portugal. Other countries took horses and established breeding farms using the Andalusian horse as a foundation for modern breeds worldwide. However, families of dedicated horsemen in Spain and Portugal continued to breed fine horses, retaining their pure qualities that had made them famous worldwide as world horses by honing their abilities with cattle work, bullfighting, and dressage. Today, a pure Andalusian bred is gaining growing numbers and popularity. Once a prized war horse, he is valued today for his versatility and ability to be competitive in all areas of equine sports. Okay, we'll give Sandra a couple minutes, and she's going to take the surcingle off, and she's going to ride the horse in some different maneuvers.
mine, 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 mine. I chew my nails and then I twiddle my gum. I'm real nervous, but it sure is fun. Come on, baby. It drives me crazy. It's just great balls of fire. Kisses me, baby. Feels good. Oh, baby. Oh, it's good. You're fine. So kind. Just where that you might. Get your nails and I twiddle my thumb. Real nasty, but it sure is fun. Come on, baby. Drive me crazy. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. You shake my nerves and you rattle my brain. Too much love drives a man insane. You broke my will, but what a thrill. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Falling in love, but I'm not as funny. You came along and woo, honey. I've changed my mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Sandra Law and her horse Tesoro. Good job. Entering the program are the horses from the Savannah Area Color Guard, carrying various flags to perform a favorite tune of all. That's very nice. Anybody's got a camera and wants to take a picture, now's your chance. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special treat tonight. We have Kurt Arliss is going to come in and play a solo to Amazing Grace. Kurt's entering the ring down at your far right. Thanks, Kurt. Excellent job as always.
I got a video. Oh, okay. What do you do? Keep the sun on?
Okay, this afternoon we'd like to continue the program with veterans who served in the World War II, Korean, and Vietnam Wars. Please come in, Tim Bush as Uncle Sam and Kate Farley carrying the POW flag.
How do you say his name, Uncle Mark? Josh. And now the tractor comes out. That's how they did it in practice. Then I think he came out. I think he came out after the tractor. I love the pants.
That is too cool.
All right. I like the pants on that mule. How about a big round of applause for our vets here, huh? What do you think? Everybody want to meet them, know who they are? Yeah. There we go. Hello, fellas and ladies. How are we doing today? Congratulations, and thank you for your service, and thanks for being here today, okay? I'd like to, if you would introduce yourself to the crowd.
Joe Balker, Radon Tolir, Carlton Gay.
She says, not me, but she's with the Ladies Auxiliary. Well, we want to know who she is anyways, don't we?
Okay, Margaret Lodge, Mabel Pitcher.
Big round of applause for them, folks. Thank you. Okay, we got another special treat here today. We have 7-year-old Joshua Bolivia. He told me I'd mess that up. Singing courtesy of Red, White, and Blue. Josh, where are you? Come on out here, buddy, where everybody can see you. Believa, that's what it is. Like Believe It or Not. How's that? Is that close? You're a handsome little fella, ain't you? Okay, turn around and say hi to everybody. Wave to everybody over there. That's where everybody's at, okay? Unfortunately, we only have one mic, so he's going to be singing over here, okay? Come on over here, buddy. We had some technical difficulties with the CD player, so you're going to have to strain your ear to hear the music and his voice at the same time. Stand right up there and come right up here, partner. Sit right on your grandfather's lap. Boy, we got to have it up here, buddy. Here, stand on the chair. Stand right on the chair.
Right up there, you got it.
Mark, hold on a second.
American girls and American guys will always stand up and salute. We'll always recognize when we see old
Josh says thanks. Jim, where does he get his vocal ability from? Huh? You've been known to sing a couple once in a while, ain't you?
Once in a while.
All right. I guess when your grandfather's J.R. Ryan, I guess you get to look and sound like that. Okay. Continuing on with the show. United States Army has a history of which every American can be proud of. The Army is even older than our nation. It was created on June 14, 1775, by the Second Continental Congress. George Washington became the first commander-in-chief of the Continental Army on July 3, 1775. The primary mission of the Army, that of the supporting and defending the ideas of the Constitution, has grown as our nation has. Since World War II, the United States has been leader of the free world. As a result, the Army has assumed more responsibilities and is now expected not only to defend our own nation, but also our allies. Soldiers must cope with complex technology and with weapons that could destroy civilization as we know it. Welcoming the Army troops tonight as Vale Forche carries the Army flag. The Navy was formed October 13, 1775. The United States Navy traces its origins to the Continental Navy, which is the Continental Congress established by authorizing the procurement, fitting out, and manning and dispatch two armed vessels to cruise in search of munition ships supplying the British Army in America. The legislation also established a naval committee to supervise the work. Altogether, the Continental Navy numbered some 50 ships over the course of the war, with approximately 20 warships active at its maximum strength. After the American War for Independence, Congress sold the surviving ships to the Continental Navy and released the seamen and officers. The Constitution of the United States, ratified in 1789, empowered Congress to provide and maintain the Navy. Acting on its authority, Congress ordered the construction and manning of 6 frigates in 1794. And the War Department administered naval affairs from that year until Congress established the Department of Navy on April 30th, 1798. We have soldiers with us this afternoon. Summer only carries the Navy flag. On November 10th, 1775, the Continental Congress meeting in Philadelphia, a resolution was passed stating that 2 battalions of Marines be raised for service as landing forces with a fleet. This resolution established the Continental Marine Corps, serving on land and at sea. These first Marines distinguished themselves in a number of important operations, including their first amphibious raid to the Bahamas in March of 1776, under the command of Captain, later Major Samuel Nichols. Nichols, the first commissioned officer in the Continental Marines, remained the senior Marine officer throughout the American Revolution and is considered to be the first Marine combatant. The Treaty of Paris in April 1783 brought an end to the Revolutionary War, and as the last of the Navy ships were sold, the Continental Navy and Marines went out of existence. Today's Marine Corps stand ready to continue in a proud tradition of those who so violently fought and died in Bellwood, Iwo Jima, the Chosin Reservoir, and Kishi. Combining a long and proud heritage of faithful service to the nation with resolve to face tomorrow's challenges, we continue to keep the Marine Corps the best of the best. Carrying the Marine flag, Jackie Johnson. United States Coast Guard is this nation's oldest, and it premier because it's amalgamation of 5 federal agencies. These agencies, the Revenue Cutter Service, the Lighthouse Service, the Steamboat Inspection Service, the Bureau of Navigation, and the Life Saving Service, were all originally independent, but have overlapping authorities and were shuffled around the government. They sometimes received new names, and they were finally united under the umbrella of Coast Guard. The multiple missions and responsibilities of the modern service and directly tied to this diverse heritage and the magnificent achievements of all these agencies. Lauren Cuss carries a Coast Guard flag. Soon after the Wright brothers flew first in 1903, the role of the flight as part of the American military began to receive attention. Although at first the role was unclear, technology advances and its performances during World War I demonstrates its potential future. But there was a disagreement as to how it would be organized and used. Many airmen felt that in order of these uses to be developed must be optimally. Military aviation had to operate separate from the Army and Navy. However, the rest of the military established worried the establishment of another separate military branch would be threatened, the unity of command, or the coordination of ground to air forces. Welcome our flyboys with Ginger McCarthy flying the Air Force flag. We have American heroes in our backyard serving us every day in our area. They are volunteers on duty 24/7. When the fire siren sounds, be it 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, dedicated men and women respond to the calls. Over the years, they have laid down their lives as we watch 9/11/2001. We're all well aware of not only the firemen, but the police officers, nurses, doctors, also ladies auxiliary. We're all on the scene, as well as citizens. Please welcome our volunteers this afternoon as we present Kelly Harper with a fireman's flag, Roseanne with a 9/11 flag, Kaylin Slater with a Red Cross flag, Amber Lang with a state flag. Also, we have members of the Montezuma Fire Department with us here tonight. And I just informed that Bob Barton from Savannah Fire Department is in Louisiana helping with all the cleanup from Hurricane Katrina. How about a big round of applause for all those folks?
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day? Were you in the yard with your wife and children, or working on some stage in LA? Did you stand there in shock at the sight of that black smoke rising against that blue sky? Did you shout out in anger and fear for your neighbor, or did you just sit down and cry? Did you weep for the children who lost their dear loved ones, pray for the ones who don't
people who walked from the rubble. It's all for the ones left behind. Did you burst out with pride, the red, white, and blue? And the heroes who died just doing what they do. Did you look up to heaven for some kind of answer and look at yourself and what really matters? I'm just a singer of simple songs. I'm not a real political man. I watch CNN, but I'm not sure I can tell you the difference in Iraq and Iran. But I know Jesus and I talk to God, and I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us, and the greatest is love. Where were you when the world stopped turning that September day? Teaching a class full of innocent children, or driving down some cold interstate? Did you feel guilty cause you're a survivor? In a crowded room, did you feel alone? Did you call up your mother and tell her you loved her? Did you dust off that Bible at home? Did you open your eyes and hope it never happened? Close your eyes and not go to sleep. Did you notice the sunset the first time in ages? Or speak to some stranger on the street? Did you lay down at night and think of tomorrow? Go out and buy you a gun? Did you turn off that violent old movie you're watching and turn on I Love Lucy reruns? Did you go to a church and hold hands with some strangers, stand in line and give your own blood? Did you just stay home and cling tight to your family? Thank God you had somebody to love. I'm just a singer of simple songs. I'm not a real political man. I watch CNN, but I'm not sure I can tell you the difference in Iraq and Iran. But I know Jesus and I talk to God, and I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us, and the greatest is love. I'm just a singer of simple songs. I'm not a real political man. I watch CNN, but I'm not sure I can tell you the difference in Iraq and Iran. But I know Jesus and I talk to God, and I remember this from when I was young. Faith, hope, and love are some good things He gave us, and the greatest is love. And the greatest is love. And the greatest is love. Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
All right, great job. I forgot to mention there's members of the Savannah Fire Department here too. Sorry, fellas. This tribute that we do here at the Savannah Horse Arena is truly a tribute to all Americans that live in this great country. We will never forget. Next part of our show, we have. We'll wait till the tractor moves. While we're waiting for the tractor to get out, if anybody would like to purchase Josh Believa's picture, he has them on sale here today. Over here to my left, there's a table over here. They're $3, and all the money that's donated for that goes to the Savannah Horse Arena. So if anybody would like a picture of Josh, he'll be glad to sign it. And he'll donate all the proceeds to the Savannah Horse Arena.
just trying to be a father, raise a daughter and a son, be a lover to their mother, everything to everyone, up and at 'em bright and early, all business in my suit. Yeah, I'm dressed up for success, from my head down to my boots. I don't do it for the money, there's bills that I can't pay. I don't do it for the glory, I just do it anyway. Providing for our futures, my responsibility. Yeah, I'm real good on the pressure, being all that I can be. I can't call in sick on Mondays when the weekend's been too strong. I just work straight through the holidays, sometimes all night long. You can bet that I stand ready when the wolf growls at the door.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, next part of our show, we have Jamie Galizia and Kurt Arliss will play the taps. Kurt, can you come into the center of the arena this time, a little closer to us, partner? Thank you, Kurt. It was very nice. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if I can ask everybody to stand up, please. How about a nice big round of applause for everyone who put this on? A special round of applause for Betty Johnson and Bob Johnson for all their hard efforts and work. It takes a lot of work to do this. And all the riders and my help here, Ron, I appreciate it. Do me all a favor. Turn to your neighbor and shake their hand and just say hello. A little act of good patriotism today. Help everybody out, all right?